Hello and welcome to McKinney Vento training for all staff of North Central Park Schools. The purpose of this training is to provide a staff with necessary information regarding McKinney Vento federal and state law, the specifics of the law, and how we can help families in transition. Flora Jones is the Director of Student Pathways and Opportunities, while Sherry Jones is the Indiana State McKinney Vento Educational Liaison. I am Carmen Branson. I'm North Central Park's District Liaison, and my contact information will be at the end. The goal of this presentation is to teach you about the McKinney Vento federal and state law to help you understand homelessness policies, discover the effects of homelessness on education, and the ways that you can possibly help identify families just by reporting to me. Lastly, I will share how McKinney Vento is funded. Families that lack safe, stable, or affordable housing are at the risk of being homeless. There are many contributing factors that can cause this. Unaccompanied homeless youth or students who do not live with a parent or guardian will move out due to abuse, neglect, death of a caregiver, incarceration of a parent or parents who have just abandoned them. McKinney Vento law was enacted to break the cycle of homelessness by providing continuity and stability of school, granting families the ability to enroll in school immediately and not having to wait on all documents to enroll. The goal is to support students for academic success. The child is the center of all decisions, and their best interest is at the forefront to keep students in school to be successful and graduate. The biggest impact on homeless students is whether they will graduate or not. Statistics show a big disparity between students who are housed and those who are not housed. This is a huge impact towards long-term poverty. Homelessness has a severe and multifaceted impact on students, affecting their education, health, and overall well-being. They have frequent school changes, chronic absenteeism, and it all affects their academic progress. They have lack of academic access to resources like school supplies, a quiet place to study, and not a regular place to sleep. They are less likely to enroll in post-education after they graduate. They have an increased trauma that can cause mental issues. They have a higher risk of being victims of violence, exploitation, and trafficking. Negative effects on the entire family, such as stress, can lead to further instability. There are many barriers to families that are homeless. Homeless families sometimes have to move around a lot to find and secure a place to stay. Being homeless is traumatic and causes fear for families. Parents worry about losing their children. Children fear their friends, and teachers will find out their situation. Many times, these students want to stay invisible. Affording school supplies, clothing, and shoes is a burden when there is little to no income. Students typically have issues. They get little sleep and are hungry. Many times, students are the main caregiver to younger siblings, and sometimes they have to be the parent. This all leads to declining enrollment, higher rates of absenteeism, mental health challenges, lower graduation rates, and then not seeking to go on to get further training after graduating. But I really want you to notice that a lack of high school degree or a GED is the biggest risk factor for all young adult homelessness. Here are the requirements of McKinney Vento law. The McKinney Vento Act ensures children and youth have the right to enroll and attend school even without usually required documents. This is to get them into school quickly. Transportation must be provided to the school of origin if it is in the best interest of the student. Students are not to be segregated or stigmatized. They are to have the same education as their peers. Lastly, an appointment of McKinney Vento liaison must be for every private or public school and charter schools. Every family that enrolls in school will fill out a residency form in Harmony. For most families, this is in the fall. In January, and also again in January, we send it out again just to see if we can catch families who have had a change in housing and if they need help. Sometimes family will just move in and they are homeless, and we figure out from the same form the housing questionnaire that has a list of questions about where they're living and what they're doing and who they're with. And if it looks like they may be McKinney Vento eligible, that form is kicked back to me, and I contact those families and help them get enrolled. Remember, homelessness can happen at any time during the school year. Determination of eligibility is on a case-by-case basis. If eligible families will have free lunch and breakfast the entire school year, and resources and opportunities for other resources will be provided to the families. Once enrolled, services will be in place for the entire school year. Reevaluation occurs in the fall. So individuals who lack a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence that is a permanent place to live are eligible. But we do have to ask ourselves this question: is it safe and is it stable? This includes those families that are facing eviction or displacement, like fleeing from domestic violence, people living in places not meant for human habitation, such as the streets or abandoned buildings, individuals who imminently may lose their home and they lack the resources and the support to be able to get over the hump. Then there's also those families that have been homeless within the last 3 to 6 months. They're at a higher risk of being homeless again. So it is thought that once homeless, always homeless, because those individuals usually teeter around the top of being housed and not housed due to resources. One example of eligibility of McKinney Vento services is being doubled up with relatives or friends. This is hard to identify. Across the U.S., 2/3 of the families identified as McKinney Vento are doubled up. For eligibility, doubled up is when a family moves in with another family due to a hardship or a catastrophic event. Eligibility is not families living together to share the expenses to save money. It's not for a student who moves out to live with a boyfriend or girlfriend unless there's an underlying issue with the family. For eligibility, the root cause needs to be teased out for McKinney Vento services. We have to remember, if the family was asked to leave by the homeowner, what would they do? Where would they go? Not having other options is an indicator of McKinney Vento services. So as a side note, I want to mention that living together with another family limits privacy, regular sleeping arrangements, and independence. Some families live in temporary shelters, while others may live in substandard houses that are not safe or they're not stable, like a car or a camper. Migrant workers can qualify for McKinney Vento services or if they are in substandard living situations. Students between the ages of 5 and 22 not living with a parent or a guardian can fill out their own paperwork, or they can have the help of a friend. Foster care students have a legal guardian. It's either the foster care parent or it is DCS. They do not qualify for McKinney Vento services. Not all unaccompanied homeless youth qualify for McKinney Vento service, and each case will be investigated to determine eligibility or not. The statistics for unaccompanied homeless youth is staggering. Students can enroll without any paperwork. This takes down any barriers and gets the students enrolled immediately, providing stability and continuity. The McKinney Vento liaison can help gather needed documents. Schools must maintain students' school records and keep them available. Records cannot be withheld due to unpaid fees. Once eligibility is determined, students have the right to remain in the school of origin for the remainder of the school year. Transportation must be provided to and from the school of origin if they so choose, and if it is in the best interest of the student. This will take place for the whole school year, whether they're housed or not. This decision is based on what is in the best interest of the student. It can be determined that transportation is not what is best. McKinney Vento students have the right to the same educational programs and services as other NCP students. They must have the same opportunities as all other students, such as Title I, SPED, high ability, and extracurricular opportunities, such as clubs, sports, and field trips. This can include math bowl, spell bowl, any educational club, and also like cheer clinic or anything else that's school related. Eligible students have free and reduced meals for the entire school year. No extra paperwork is needed to be filled out. Under the McKinney Vento Act, all families must be informed of their educational rights and services that are offered if they are eligible for services. Once a year, all staff must be trained and educated about homelessness. This just keeps you abreast and just keeps reminding you what how you can help and what the signs are. Strict records are kept and entered in harmony. Failing to not have these things done can cause a payback of funds to Title I Part A. It also could cause losing of all Title I funds. Title I grant dollars are used to fund a local McKinney Vento program. Funds are used to cover costs of school supplies for families, such as extra school expenses like field trips, dental costs, clothing, hygiene items, or extracurricular activities. It also pays for McKinney Vento liaison for the corporation. And a side note here, sometimes I do use other outside sources that will help, such as local churches or private donors, and they will pay for things that McKinney Vento will not pay for, like food and gas. Having training each year helps us to remember the signs to look for if you have concerns about a student in your class. They won't have all the signs, but they may have several. Just keep your eyes open. It really does take a community to identify these families. Remember the fear and the trauma we discussed earlier. Families don't want you to know their situation out of fear. They want to remain invisible and just hope things will work out on their own. And they don't want anyone to know they have struggles. The goal here is to keep students in school to provide continuity and support. You can reach out to me or the school principal or the counselor, and they can refer back to me, and I will follow up with these families. So here are the signs: hunger, fatigue in class, fall asleep easily, because sleeping arrangements are not in the best for the student. Wearing the same clothes for several days, erratic attendance and habitual tardies, not being able to get in touch with the families because their phone number has changed and they forgot to let you know. They lack participation in school activities. They have incomplete or missing homework. They can be shy. They may have anxiety, aggression, difficult forming relationships with peers and adults, and unmet medical needs, chronically sick, poor in dental care. And sometimes they'll just stay home on a day when something's required they can't pay for, such as a costume or a poster or snacks for their class. NCP currently has 28 students enrolled. The number has grown through the school year. Housing in our school service area has really diminished, and it is hard to find suitable, affordable, and safe housing for families, but especially for families at risk. So here's my information. Please reach out to me, or again, your principals or counselors, they can get with me, and then I can work with families. I want to thank many of you who have reached out to help these families in need. It really does take all of us to watch out for these families so that we can get services to them. So if you get nothing else, there's two things I want you to take away. A note of caution: don't push parents back in a corner. They are stressed and traumatized and fearful about their situation. They want to be invisible and hope it will all work itself out. Interventions and support are needed to stop the cycle of homelessness. And remember, it only takes a few paychecks for anyone to end up homeless. Thank you for all the hard work you do.